Ruler School is brought to you by Odyssey Games, where you can go to get singles for all your Force of Will and other trading card games, as well as these amazing patrons.
Thank you for your support. Enjoy the video.
Hey there guys, GMO73 here, bringing you the deck profiles for both the Ploki Dredge that got messed up yesterday, as well as the Haiku Hanzo list. Perfect Ploki Dredge was designed by Josh Boersma, and then the Haiku Hanzo was designed by Paul Clute. So, clearly the Perfect Ploki list, if you haven't seen it, hopefully you got a sense of it yesterday, so I'm going to kind of go through it quickly. Obviously, we're trying to flip into Perfect Ploki, and this deck really wants to make use more than any other deck that once per turn you may play a card from your graveyard. It kind of tries to abuse that. We're playing 10 Water Magic Stones because outside of Perfect Ploki itself and then the 2 discard cards, we are just playing mono blue. And then hopefully Shadow of Kronos, we have ways to get Shadow of Kronos out onto the field quickly so that we don't have to worry about not having access to that dark when we need it. Rune deck wise, we're playing a Neo Ragnarok because that's the whole reason to play Perfect Ploki. Loki's Insight to be able to, again, work on disrupting your opponent's hand to make sure a Perfect Ploki flip is safe. Return of God is our main way to dig for Shadow of Kronos. Harvesting Season is an excellent way to kind of buffer your Perfect Ploki so that when it flips, you have a good defense already so that they can't kind of respond and kill it while it's still at a 100 defense. And then lastly, a Freed from the Altar is our primary way to go search for Perfect Ploki if we need it. Going into the main deck real quick, we're playing 4 Shadow of Kronos. He's our blue-black commandment, as well as being able to help us do some card selection. And it's especially good because any card we send to the grave essentially becomes usable later with Perfect Ploki. Kronos' Envoy is our main Final Form Fenrir Fetcher. Wow, Final Form Fenrir Fetcher, quad F. It also is a nice way to bring Final Form Fenrir to the field if Perfect Ploki is flipped. So you pay 2, mill Final Form Fenrir, put it in your hand, or put it onto the field, which is great. For Perfect Ploki, obviously, for Arthur, because it is a repeatable guy that will always draw you a card, and then has this kind of barrier to help you kind of push through pressure for lethal if you need to, especially once you know what your opponent's deck is going to be. For Fenrirs, so that we have the most opportunities to be able to flip Perfect Ploki, as well as being able to cheat it into play. 4 Look of Corruption and 3 Thought Control for the discard package. Look of Corruption is great because we can awaken it from the graveyard, which is really nice. So then we can just start casting and stealing 2 cards a turn from our opponent, thanks to Perfect Ploki being able to recycle cards and the fact that the cards don't go to the removed from game; they just go back to the graveyard. 3 Loki's Insight from the main, and then 4 Guinevere's Investigation, which is a really awesome card to use with Perfect Ploki. If you didn't do anything during your opponent's turn, you just use Perfect Ploki, and then you can use Guinevere's Investigation at your end of your opponent's turn, draw a card, have perfect knowledge of their hand going into your turn, which is great. For Athena's Love, I guess this is the other Darkness card as a way to be able to give ourselves Eternal, and it is technically a repeatable spot removal spell, which is nice. And then 1 Keys Call and 1 Erendite, mainly because we don't need more than this, because we plan on repeating them infinitely as much as we need to with the Perfect Ploki. So that is that list real quick. I'm going to go into the Haiku Hanzo list here. It is kind of a first draft, but it is a fun way to play with all the new cat support and Kaguya that came out for Hanzo to kind of set up these potential Haiku swings with Kaguya, where you can recover 7 stones, draw 7 cards, do all kinds of crazy stuff. So obviously we're playing Hanzo. Our stone base wise is 4 Saintly Elven Stone because we're playing Lorite and it's technically a wind stone, which is nice. So Calico Cat can make it produce white. A light magic stone and 5 wind magic stones. Our rune is Sealing Scroll, Whispers of an Angel, Explore the Unknown, Rapid Fire Me, and Sandstorm because we do need some board wipe potential, and green does not have a lot of spot removal right now. Going into the main deck, we're playing 3 Bastet. Obviously, it's a great way to be able to recycle things like Kaguya, as well as things like Lorite and everything else, so you can just kind of keep repeating them over and over again. Also, it's a really nice way to bounce Rachel back to your hand, so that you can then search for whatever card you want at instant speed. For Calico Cats, so we have the most opportunities to produce green-white. 2 Algernon, because it's again a great way to be able to search up a spell at instant speed if we need to, such as Nature's Beauty when we're ready to finish the game. 3, Dark Alice, the Rabbit Princess, because it's really nice graveyard protection as well as draw power for the deck, and green did lose a little bit of draw power. 2, Lorite, because we want to be able to cancel stuff, and we only play 2 because we have so many ways to be able to repeat them, for, like bouncing them back to hand and recasting them, but I would maybe consider playing a 3rd if you think you need it. 4, Kaguya, obviously super powerful card. We're really trying to use this card as much as possible to be able to cancel stuff and then set up for being able to hit with that 5/7/5, which is great. Keith Sith, because it's a cat, so it can get boosted with Bastet, and also generates a cat token, which is really important because Bastet can just bounce a token rather than having to bounce one of your other dudes if you really just want to flash her in to start getting pressure down with all these cats. 2, Kotaro for some end game, or during your opponent's turn shenanigans, as well as with CL. CL is nice because she can produce a green and a white and then immediately use that on Kaguya if you've gotten to Rune 2, which is pretty easy in this deck. 2, Rachel, because again, being able to fix your opponent's stuff up, you can fix your grave potentially even with her if you really need to set up for the 5/7/5 and you haven't been able to yet, because you can just mill your own cards. 4, Table Flip to combo well with Kate Sith and Kotaro and the other kind of quick cast resonators that we're playing to be able to trade up and to use it as forms of spot removal. 2, Fair Spells for cancels, 1, Nature's Beauty to close out games. 4, Chance of Tranquility, because if you're playing 4 Kaguya, you at least need to be playing 3 Chant of Tranquility. This card is absolutely amazing for helping you be able to ramp, helps you be able to recycle your cards, again, like those Kaguyas, CLs, Kotaros, Rachels, best, like all of it. It just serves as a nice little protection and helps you set up boards really nicely, and then also be able to set up your graveyard excellently for the Haiku hits. And then lastly, 2, Village of the Spirited Away. There's so many good enter effects that come into play with this deck, as well as leave effects like Rachel, or you can just flash out a Kaguya and flash it back in, so that you have this kind of instant speed double green cancel on a body that people need to watch out for. So it does have a lot of potential there. But those are the lists. Let me know what you guys think in the comment sections down below. Again, I apologize for the technical issues yesterday, and we will be trying to get the Heroic Epic Red-Black Isis Moon list for you tomorrow. But until next time, this is DMO73 saying class dismissed.